Are you ready for the Snake Men?
Computer warriors, expect the unexpected.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of That New Toy Smell. I'm Pixel Dan.
I'm Devall.
What are you doing?
I don't know, I'm doing exercises.
This is not the time.
Ergonomics. How's it going, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. There's been some pretty cool news.
You're sick, right?
I'm a little sick.
Stay
Can you tell?
that way. Yeah, no, don't snot on me.
No?
No!
Oh. So,
Toy news.
while you guys are watching this show right here, we are actually in New York.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Attending the Toy Fair.
New York is cold.
It is cold. Bringing you guys lots and lots of coverage. So, when you're done watching this episode, make sure you guys stay tuned to thatnewtoysmell.com at popculturenetwork.com for lots of Toy Fair covers throughout the weekend.
Lots of.
We're going to have photos and news updates and podcasts and videos and anything we could possibly get you. We're going to get you from the event.
Yes.
So, big stuff going to happen. So make sure you guys are here and you don't miss it. Now, with that being said...
And nobody does it like we do, so...
Nobody does it like That New Toy Smell. That's right. So with that being said, out of the way, let's talk about a little bit of pre-Toy Fair news. One of the coolest things to come out of this week is that we found out...
What the gold sword and white shield are that they
right.
showed at the Masters of the Universe art show.
That's right,
a
you
month
guys
ago.
remember those accessories that they showed us, the 4 mystery accessories? We now know what 2 of them are.
Yes, we do.
And it turns out that He-Man is returning to retail.
How awesome.
Now, don't get too excited.
Yeah, no.
That doesn't mean the Masters of the Universe Classics line is coming to retail.
It's not exactly what you think, but it's still very cool.
Still very cool news. Here's the deal. Back in He-Man's heyday, DC Comics actually owned the rights to the Masters property and produced comic books.
This was like 83, early 84.
During that run, there was an issue of the He-Man comics where He-Man and Superman met and fought.
Yes.
Because Skeletor put a spell on Superman and made him fight him.
It was actually how they introduced the Masters of the Universe characters, the couple of core characters. It's actually how they introduced them to comic readers.
That is
really, yeah. It's basically they use that story to introduce the Masters of the Universe world.
So fast forward to today, where Mattel not only owns Masters of the Universe and has the Classics line going strong, but they also currently have the license to DC Universe Classics, which is another property that's going strong. And Mattel took this opportunity to mash those together
in accordance with Toys R Us
and give us some cool new Toys R Us exclusive 2-packs that are going to feature He-Man versus Superman.
Yes.
Now, we found this out because we actually do have some connections with Toys R Us, and we called over there today and we confirmed with them that in the system right now is listed an item that says DCU versus Masters of the Universe 2-pack for $29.99.
That's right.
So these are set to hit stores in April. Now, the reason this all spawned is because it turns out some sellers from China posted
Why? Why is it always got to be China?
Always got to be China. Posted an auction on eBay selling 2 prototype figures from Mattel that was a...
Actual production run
They
prototypes.
were actually production run prototypes of a really oddly colored He-Man and an oddly colored Skeletor, both holding that gold sword and the He-Man holding that white shield. Now, it turns out after doing a little bit of investigation that the colors on that He-Man and that Skeletor perfectly match the way they're colored in this DC comic book.
Yep.
On top of that, we found out that the April issue of Toy Fair magazine is going to be featuring a photo, the first carded photo of Superman versus He-Man 2-pack.
Which is out on newsstands right now.
So we should know for sure that that is what we're getting at Toys R Us stores come April.
And more than likely, we'll probably see an up-close example of it at Toy Fair, I would imagine.
So hopefully,
not only will Mattel show off everything for retail, they'll also show everything for Matty Collector. Their exclusive, most of their exclusives that they're going to have this year.
Correct.
Whether they're Walmart or Toys R Us or Target exclusive, they'll probably actually show most of those.
So there you go. That is really cool. It's a really cool way for Mattel to introduce He-Man and Skeletor back into the retail market
Yep.
without risking launching a new He-Man line at stores, because I believe they're just basically sneaking them in under their DC label.
Yeah, they'll
So
probably
that
be,
way,
they'll probably be packaged in the DC
they'll
Universe
be in the
Classics.
DC Universe packages most likely, you know, with the Masters logo on them. It'll probably be like a DC Universe versus Masters.
Yeah.
And so that way, when those are real popular and they sell, Mattel can go, hey, retailers, look how well He-Man and Skeletor sold in your stores. You guys want to carry our stuff?
Yep.
So I think this is really, really smart move on Mattel's part.
it is. I
It's
mean,
giving us a cool little exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not something that you would probably feel like you have to buy unless you're an Ultra fan, because it's just another He-Man and just another Skeletor.
Right, and here's the thing is
and
that
just another Superman.
if people have missed that He-Man or that Skeletor, you know, even though they're different colored from the original Matty Collector
Still a
releases,
good way to
it's
get
still a good way to get He-Man and Skeletor. I
Yep.
mean, why wouldn't you? Especially if you're missing it and you're like, I don't want to pay scalper prices for these figures because they're ridiculous. There you go.
Right. And we don't know exactly what the 2-packs are yet, but I think our speculation is that we're going to get one that's He-Man and Superman,
Regular Superman.
and then one that's Skeletor and an evil Superman.
Superman,
And
yeah.
that's our guess as to
Yeah.
what's coming out.
Because
So-
there weren't really any other DC characters in that little
Yeah,
miniseries. It was
yeah.
literally just Superman. I don't think Lex Luthor was involved in any way.
I don't
It literally was
think.
just Superman.
But
Like,
I don't know for sure, so I
it's
could
been
be
a long time
wrong,
since I've read
but-
that. We'll have to ask Scotty Cash
But,
because he actually owns that.
But the 2-pack's going to come with a reprint of that comic book,
Yes.
too. So that is awesome, and
Yes.
I'm real excited about that.
Which is a
So-
very cool way to get that issue.
So it's a very cool thing to look forward to. So make sure you guys are checking your stores around April at Toys R Us, because you know you're going to want to pick that 2-pack
Absolutely.
up. That's going to be a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, lots of Toy Fair news is coming up. So like I said, stay tuned to the site. We'll have lots of big reveals and all the cool new information posted on the site after the episode.
We're probably busy eating a hot dog right now.
Doing something, I'm sure. But for the episode,
Yes.
you've got something special for us.
Yes.
What is this?
Well, okay. Robotics was a line released by Milton Bradley, the board game giant, actually, in the early '80s, and it was a modular building system. So it actually is a building system that doesn't require any tools. It's all created. It's an octagonal building system, so everything that goes together, it's all made out of octagon, so it all connects really easy, no tools needed. A lot of them were motorized. Actually, all of them were motorized for the better part. So they had these little handheld controllers or in motors. But I found this over the weekend and thought, this is a great thing to do a show on, because no one probably remembers this line.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't even remember this.
It's such a cool, nice little footnote in the toy aisle histories, like I always like to say. The cool thing is, and you'll see in the video, this line is actually still readily available today. If you go to roboticsandthings.com, you can actually still buy brand new sets or replacement pieces, and they've made improvements over the years to where the controllers now, they used to be handheld, they were on a wire, and you can probably see the wire in the front. We'll show you a little bit more after the video. They now have wireless controllers for these and wireless sensors, so you can actually have wireless creations. So, like my motor for this one I picked up doesn't actually work. The handheld unit doesn't work. I'll end up buying a little remote control and a sensor for $30 and replace the motors and get it working and have it motorized. I mean, it really is a cool little line. And well, check out the video here.
Sweet. We'll check it out.
You know, here on That New Toy Smell, we take a lot of pride and joy in reintroducing many forgotten toy lines to the masses, and none make me more happier than this next one. Do you remember Robotics? No? Well, here, check this out. It might refresh your memory a bit.
Who puts the future in your hand? Robotics. Who gives you robots to command? Robotics. Who lets you build fighting creatures wilder than a movie feature? Robotics. You create them, you control them. Who puts the future in your hands? Robotics. Who gives you robots to command? Robotics. R2000 comes with what you see here. Batteries not included. R1000 sold separately from Milton Bradley.
Okay, ring any bells yet? Robotics is a modular building system that was produced by board game giant Milton Bradley from 1984 to 1994. There was even a very short-lived cartoon series consisting of 15 6-minute shorts that were later released as a full-length movie on VHS and later on DVD overseas. Not to mention there was a comic series published by Marvel Comics as well. Now, unlike many of our past toy lines we've shown on the show, believe it or not, you can still buy new sets of this line that are completely backwards compatible with the vintage sets. In 1994, when Milton Bradley stopped making them, Learning Curve started releasing new sets. Sets were released by Learning Curve until 2001, and then they became sold exclusively online through Robotics and things. Now, there have been a ton of these sets released over the years, but we're going to give you a look at one of the villain sets from the original vintage release, Tyrannix. Now, the box for these old sets featured that great hand-painted artwork on the cover that almost immediately captured your attention and makes you want to see what the heck this product is all about. It's one of the things missing from today's toy lines is the original hand-painted artwork that graced the covers of boxes and toy aisles everywhere. Flipping this box over gets you your first look at what this bad boy is capable of, as well as a sneak peek at the parts included in this set. Speaking of parts, we'll get to those in a bit, but I want to take a look at the instruction manual. This is probably one of the coolest manuals I've ever seen included with a toy product. From the large painting, the exact same one from the box cover that decorates the cover of this booklet, to the full-colored and detailed parts list and instructions included within. This really is one of the coolest things I've seen in some time. Now, these sets all came with 3 3/4 inch figures to pilot your vehicle creations, and Tyrannix came with arch-villain Gaxon Graves, and this figure really does show his age, being a figure from the 80s. While he has some great details on and around his suit, when you lift up his visor to reveal his face, it's really, really plain, with no details painted on. Also, he only really has 4 points of articulation, but back then, that is all you really need anyway, right? Now, usually, he would come with an attachable backpack with a gun, but alas, mine was missing this small part, but that's okay. Now, these sets were interesting because they didn't require any tools to piece together. They used an octagonal fastening system that really allows for quick building, which is kind of neat. Now, the parts here are very detailed, and you really have a ton of different options when piecing this together, as you really only have your imagination as your limit. Now, the other cool thing about these sets is that they used handheld controllers that would be hooked up to motors and allow your creations to move. Alas, mine doesn't seem to work anymore, so I'll have to pick up some new motors and controls from Robotics and things soon so I can bring these bad boys to life. Now, these sets all came with a control capsule that features an opening canopy, allowing Gaxon to sit inside and control the creations. Now, the stickers inside the capsule really add to the overall detail of these great toys. Now, I'm going to show you the build for the Tyrannix Interceptor here real quick, just to wrap up the coverage of this great line. So there you have it, a nice look at the original Robotics line. Now, as I said in the beginning, the coolest part is you can still buy new and original sets for this line that have some great improvements, including wireless remote controls and even more. Now, some of the full sets are really, really pricey, but if you already have one of these sets, one of these vintage sets, you can actually go on and buy more parts for actually pretty inexpensive prices, which is a very, very cool thing. Now, this was, and still is, a beloved toy line, and is something we here at That New Toy Smell really enjoy to see. Nowadays, this line is really used in schools to teach students the joys of robotics and how they work, which is very, very cool to me. And it's good to see that a toy line from the 80s has made it all the way into the classrooms of today.
All right, guys, welcome back.
What's up?
Awesome. I didn't know anything about this until your video. I got to be honest.
You know, it was one of those lines that I vaguely remembered, and I remember seeing in stores when I was younger. Mostly, I remember seeing the commercial that we showed in the video with the big, almost like big dinosaur-looking creature. This line was very interesting, and as you could tell, especially in the video, I flipped through it, but in Pixel Dan's looking at it now, the instruction manuals were huge. They're full color. Full color photos, detailed instructions. Now, these sets might have been hard for younger kids to build back then. Literally, I mean, there are some very detailed instructions on how to plug things in, how you would use the gears and the motors. This set here is the set I remember the most because you could create a large, almost Tyrannosaurus-like creature that actually his mouth moved and he moved his head. Very cool stuff. The best thing, though, is literally the modular building system that was created. I mean, I showed it and literally it's all. I don't know if the handheld can get this. It's all made out of octagons. It's all octagonal shapes, and they literally just plug in real easily and real simply.
And that's how the whole thing's put together?
That's how the whole thing is put together, just like that. The little figures they came with, they all came with a figure. And like I said in the video, they actually had backpacks that connected with a gun that he could hold.
Which is also the octagonal
Which
shape.
is also plugs in with an octagonal shape here. This one didn't have the backpack, so no big deal. Best thing is they literally have vintage Star Wars articulation. Shoulders, hips, no head articulation, but the little visor does lift up to show you this really odd, unpainted, scary face.
It does look cool though, because it's like that 3 3/4 inch scale figure that looks like it fits in with the stuff.
Yeah, and you could use any 3 3/4 inch figure for these sets,
and that's awesome.
Yeah, which was great.
You could build your own little vehicle and have your Luke Skywalker riding around if you
Yeah,
want to.
and literally these sets, I mean, they gave you quite a few different building options in the instruction manual, and these sets literally were limited only by your imagination and how many sets you own, because all the sets are interchangeable. You could build. With this set, with the 3 other sets, they had a ton of smaller sets. They had a lot of part sets that came out that were just different pieces. You just build so much. And the fact that this is still available, mostly to school districts, actually, because it's they're big classroom projects now. So when science classes want to teach kids about robotics and robotic engineering, they actually use these sets in a lot of classrooms across the nation and across the world. To show these kids how gears would work, how robots would work, how remote controls work, just all kinds of stuff. So that really is cool to me, the fact that I think this is the only vintage toy line that we've reviewed that is an odd toy line that actually is still available. I'm not talking about a popular toy line like, Transformers we've reviewed before, and we've talked about Masters of the Universe. This toy line is such an odd thing that people probably don't remember it, and the fact that you can still go online and buy not only new sets, and they're kind of pricey because they are designed for school use, but if you had a set that was missing parts, like mine doesn't have an engine that works, the motor don't work, the control unit doesn't work, you can go online, go to their parts, and their parts are like 50 to 75 cents a piece, and you can just order pieces. All the pieces that you want, you could order and spend maybe $20 and get a brand new set almost.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And I was looking here at the back, like you were talking about how you can mix and match parts and everything. I mean, it's very mumuch kind of like, a lot of the building toys, like Legos and stuff, where you don't have to follow the exact designs.
Right, not at all.
Like, it shows you on the back some different examples that you can do with the exact same set here, using the pieces that are in this box. I mean, you could build several different things. Like, it even, you got like a space scout, or the space station, or a patroller, or whatever you want to build with it.
Just some cool stuff.
It's like an imagination toy.
And the cool thing was, if on this one, the wheels here are supposed to move, so it's supposed to be able to roll. But you could add, if you wanted, let's say you wanted the turret up here to turn, you could actually add another motor and another control device on the back. Add that, and you'd have a satellite that rotated. You'd have a vehicle that moved. I think nowadays you can add, I think they make 6 or 8 different motor functions that you can add to one control unit, and you can add as many motors to it as you want. It's just a really cool, little-known toy line that was a building tool as well as a toy line. These sets actually are pretty affordable on eBay. You can actually find a lot of these old sets for less than $20 maybe. They may not be all complete, but like I said, you can go on to Robotics. I believe it's roboticsandthings.com. You can go on there and order parts. So if you're missing pieces, you can actually go on and order brand new pieces that are molded just like these original sets in these original colors and finish your sets off.
That is really amazing.
Yeah, you don't find that a lot with the toy lines we talk about. I mean, you couldn't go into stores or go online and buy brand new Savage Mondo Blitzers or buy any of the other odd
awesome.
Yeah, buy any of the other odd stuff that we've covered. It's just cool to me that you can still go and still buy this brand of lines, and these have been available literally since '85 when they came out. They've been through a couple different companies, and
are they? I was going to ask if they're still with Milton Bradley, or
they are not. Milton Bradley sold them to a company called Learning Curve, which is actually in the video we talk about. Learning Curve, and then Learning Curve stopped making them after a few years, and then this website took over the production of them, took over the molds and everything, and they've been making them ever since.
Wow, well that is really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's just one of those really cool things. I never even knew these existed until Devall brought it up. So hopefully you guys just learned something new.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, hopefully you find a toy line that is really cool, that's really affordable, that's just neat to have. I mean, I love looking at it. I mean, it's such detailed parts on it. They may all be, one color monotone parts, but there's such detail built into these that Milton Bradley actually built into them that the new companies have just continued to build in details. And the fact that all the sets you buy now actually still come with these same style figures. I mean, they're new designs. They're still the same articulation. There's no new articulation on the figures. I mean, they're all different figures now for this line. The fact that it had a short-lived TV series.
So it had a TV series?
It had a TV series.
And they do still come with figures, huh?
They do still come with figures. Had a comic book, we had a Marvel Comics series based on this line.
That is really cool.
They made a big push in the 80s, and then Milton Bradley just kind of let it die, and then this other company picked it up, and it's been going ever since. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. That's a great video review.
Yeah.
Very cool
Thank
item. I learned something new today. So you
awesome.
learn something new all the time on That New Toys.
That's right. That's right.
Very cool, very cool. All right, well, let's go ahead. Before we close things out today, we'll move on to some forum questions. We got some good ones today.
Hey, Pixel Dan, what do you shower with? Do you use a loofah, or do you use
body wash?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
What's Killen doing over there?
Vinto Man.
Stop waving to the handheld. Can you believe this guy?
Vinto Man says.
Sorry.
I'll ask Devall.
Yes!
What's the one Masters of the Universe figure you really want to get but can't find? P.S. Did you also get your Adora?
I did get my Adora, and
Adora.
Thank you to Import Spider who hooked me up with that. I appreciate that. After my little crybaby tale on the message boards, because I screwed up my subscription.
Mattel screwed up. Oh, no, I
forgot to sign up.
Actually,
yeah. So I actually screwed myself on this one. Whoa! It happens a lot here. Import Spider. I actually got it. It came yesterday, so I got to pick it up today, and it was very cool. I was very glad to get it. What's the one figure that I want that I can't get? Wondar, because I don't have a subscription. So
that's a good answer.
Yeah,
because you can't get that figure.
No, you sure can't. Unless I happen to.
If any of our awesome viewers.
Unless I see Toy Guru at Toy Fair and I don't know, manage to
Yeah, because you're gonna be able to talk them into giving you one. Look, if any of our awesome viewers out there want to hook our buddy up here. I want to hook Devall up with a Wondar figure. Say maybe you've got a couple of subscriptions and you have an extra one that you want to get rid of by chance.
Yeah, it probably is a fat chance, but
you can send this guy an email at Devall@popculturenetwork.com. He would love to hear from you.
To be honest, if you guys want to know, I'll give you $60 for a $1.
Uh-oh, he's throwing it out there.
I'll give you $60.
He's throwing a price he wants.
Not only will you get your money back that you paid for the shipping of that figure, you'll even make $30 off it. Now I know you could probably sell that figure for a lot more, but I literally am willing to give you $60 for a $1. As soon as this figure shows up, you have him in hand. Well, this is the thing is I screwed up my subscription, so I'm not willing to spend more than $60 on it because my wife will kill me. I'm just throwing that out there.
Are you sure she won't kill you for spending $60?
I'm sure she will for that too, but you know what? I love her. Piss on her. I'm buying $1.
Oh, we just threw that out there.
I love my wife, but you know what?
Wife is
$1.
watching this.
I've wanted that figure for ages, and now I screwed up myself. But yeah, I mean, everybody wants
Toys
to
are serious business.
Look, you guys are the most loyal fans that I think any show or any website could have. You guys are awesome. We love each and every one of you in that non-physical way.
Suck up. No one's giving you $1.
If my wife is watching, I just want to say that I love you and appreciate you and would never talk to you the way that Devall talks to his wife on the internet.
What?
That's 1-800-DIVORCE.
You can send your hate mail to Devall at popculturenetwork.com.
Babe, I'll be home tonight sleeping on the couch. I love you. Actually, wait, no, I'm in New York. Who cares?
Oh, that's your big plan, huh?
No,
you're not going to come home from New York.
She doesn't watch the show anyway.
Okay, all right, well, let's move on. Jobber asks, have you ever been tempted to sell a figure in your collection that you know was worth a lot of money?
Oh, God.
This is a really good question.
You sold a lot of stuff that was worth a lot of money.
I've caved on a lot of things, and I've kind of got the opposite thing going on, because there are things that I've caved on, and then I look back now and I go, I wish I still had that figure. Because I got a lot of money for it, but what did I do with that money? I paid bills, and I have nothing to show for it. Like, for example...
You were broke then.
For example, one of the things I sold was the very first San Diego Comic-Con exclusive He-Man figure autographed by the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
And I sold that figure for like $150 for one figure, and it was awesome. And then I turned around and paid bills with that money and had nothing to show for it. So it's one of those things that I regret. Yeah,
you had power.
Sure, I paid
and water.
I was going to say, sure, I paid my bills at the time. That's cool. But now I just sit here going, I wish I still had that figure, and I'll probably never get it again.
Yeah.
One of the things currently that I have is the Wonder Twins pack
with Gleek
from San Diego that I teetered on for a long time going, should I sell this and make some quick money? Should I keep it because it's awesome? And I ended up keeping it, but I still walk into my toy room and go, it's just sitting there. I can make some money on that. Maybe I'll sell that right now.
Yeah, the minute you sell it, you were like, I wish I still had Gleek. He's awesome.
It's just one of those things that I haven't sold yet because, one thing, my wife doesn't like me selling toys because she gets tired of hearing me complain about the fact that I sold it and I'm mad at myself for selling it. So every time I go, I think I'm going to sell this. I could get like $50. My wife goes, no, you're not selling that. I don't want to hear you complaining about selling it a week from now.
Or Pixel Dan's wife goes, he'll go, you know, I really don't like these. I want to sell them. She's like, no, I like them. And then you can't get rid of them.
That's the other thing. Like, I can't get rid of my Movie Masters Avatar figures because my wife likes them. So, you know, sometimes
go figure.
Sometimes I got to sit on things because she
God, is there anything? Can you think of anything I've had in my collection that I've actually sold that?
I know some things you need to sell.
I'm not selling my Tonner dolls. Shut up.
Yeah, well, tell Tonner dolls.
No. Yes, I do, and they're awesome, and I like them. God, have I?
What about like? Well, I don't know. You sold a lot of your big Power Ranger Zords back.
You know what? When Pixel Dan and I had our store, the first store that we owned, not Killing Store, but the first store that we owned together. I did bring in all of my boxed vintage Power Ranger figures from the Dragon Zord to everything that I had and sold it.
The all-black Megazord?
I still have the all-black Megazord.
Do you?
I still have that.
Cool.
I kept that one, but I sold everything else. And you know what? It still sucks that I sold those because they were such awesome toys, and I worked so hard to get the Dragon Zord. I think I had to go to Missouri to find, in Branson of all places. So it kind of sucks that I sold those, but I mean, what do you do? They were keeping the store open for the 6 months we were open.
The 6 months. He's probably accurate on that. That's about right.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go one last question here. Another one from our buddy Chris Vint. What video games do you wish they had brought figures out from? And I like this question, but this is a hard one to answer because first of all, if you have followed me at all online, you should know by now that that's one of my things. I like video game toys.
Check out From Pixels to Plastic.
From Pixels to Plastic is my very first video series. Like, the whole reason I got into this is because I wanted to cover video game-based toys.
Yep.
Video game toys are kind of one of my weaknesses. Because if I see a really good video game action figure, even if I've never played the video game...
He's going to buy it.
I will still buy the figure because I think it's so cool. Now, lately, we've gotten a lot more of that stuff. It's been really cool. We've had guys like NECA who've been putting out the awesome Player Select stuff, and they've given us some of the cool, like the Street Fighter 4 stuff and the God of War stuff, and you know, the Castlevania stuff, which
the
is
upcoming Dante's Inferno figure.
Dante's Inferno. My big thing is I want more classic stuff. I loved the Castlevania figures that NECA did, especially the Simon Belmont, because he was based off of the original NES incarnation of Simon Belmont.
Yeah.
I want more toys based off of the old classics that I grew up with. I want Mega Man toys that are more based off of the original 8-bit Mega Man. I know we got some, but we got some good ones.
we got some good ones.
But I want more of those. I want to see, you know, all of that classic stuff that I loved. I want some Legend of Zelda action figures based off the original games.
That'd be cool.
That would be amazing. You know, and Nintendo does release some cool toys. The problem is most of their stuff comes out in Japan.
Yeah.
And we have to import it, and it gets really expensive.
Really expensive.
I want to actually be able to walk into a store. Like, for a time there, Toy Biz was releasing a lot of video game stuff.
Yeah.
They had the Video Game Superstar stuff.
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff.
They had, like, the Ocarina of Time toys. They had the Mario Kart toys, and all that stuff was awesome. I want to be able to walk into the store and find that kind of stuff again. Because that's what I want. I want stuff based on the classic games. And with classic video games being such a popular thing these days, I don't know what's keeping the toy companies from jumping on those licenses. It seems
shelf space and money, probably.
It seems like there is a lot of money to be made in making collectibles based off these old video games. I mean, look at all the T-shirts and stuff we have now based on these old video games. Why can't we get toys too?
Part of the problem is I know that Mattel's talked about this a lot when being questioned about why Masters wasn't in the... Oh, we go back to Masters, of course. Why Masters wasn't in the stores, and it's because, most stores have 20 feet of shelf space, and, everyone's fighting for this 5 foot of space that isn't one of the mainstays like Star Wars or Transformers or G.I. Joe. So, I mean, NECA now is... A lot of these companies are in Toys R Us, which is cool, and Toys R Us has got a large section of adult collector, action figures.
Right.
But... I mean, you still fall into that category of, how much is the license, who has the rights to that license game, who has the rights to that game.
I'm sure,
I'm sure,
hard.
I'm sure, from a legal standpoint, it's got to be a pain in the butt.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know enough. I know little bits and pieces. I'm not an expert, but I can imagine these guys struggle to get the licenses they get that aren't new. I'm sure games like Dante's Inferno from EA, I'm sure that was an easy license to get because they're shopping that game around. They have been for a couple of years.
Exactly.
But I can't think of any line that I would really want to see. There's some newer games that came out that, we didn't get any figures from Infamous, which I thought was a great game.
Infamous would have been an awesome
And the main character in that would have been a great figure to make. The bad guy at the end of the game would have been an awesome figure to have. Oh gosh,
we do get some good stuff now. That's for sure.
Darksiders that just came out.
I don't know.
Or was it Darksiders?
I don't know what that is. You're making games up.
No, I always get confused because I want to say Darkstalkers.
No, not Darkstalkers.
And that's already a game.
I don't know.
It's the one where you're one of the 4 horsemen, and Earth has been destroyed, and you're roaming the Earth trying to save it from the demons. He's seen the commercials. He doesn't know. He'd be a cool figure to have. I really can't think of any classic games. Maybe the old pro wrestling game from Nintendo. We've seen great customs for that made.
Punch Out.
Punch Out would be another one.
Would be awesome.
We've seen great customs made for that line.
I'm going to talk to that guy.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. That's an awesome,
awesome
customizer.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
I could probably talk about that all day, but we'll go ahead and cut it off now.
Yeah.
I guess just keep watching From Pixels to Plastic. Eventually, I'll make some new episodes, and we'll talk about more video games.
Well, you haven't had a new episode in a while.
I've been so busy with this.
Yeah, I know. Ito's going to kill you.
I keep getting asked, too, where's From Pixels to Plastic? I'm still doing it, guys. I'm just a little behind. I promise. New episodes, they're coming.
So, while we're in New York right now, Ito's punching you.
Yeah, Ito's probably...
Pixels to Plastic! Pixels, Dan, you stupid! Oh, I hate you!
All right, guys. Well, that's going to go ahead and end this week's episode of That New Toy Smell. As always, you can head on over to popculturenetwork.com. New episodes of the show every Saturday. Also, while you're there and you're in the mood to spend some money, you can check out the Pop Culture Network store. We got
Click on the
lots
button.
of stuff, big selection of action figures and video games and movies and comic
We got
books.
tons of stuff coming in the next week or so.
Lots of great stuff. So check us out while you're there. And don't forget, we got Toy Fair coverage coming up all weekend long. So please stay tuned. PopCultureNetwork.com, ThatNewToysmell.com. Either way you want to find us, we'll be there.
That's right.
We'll have tons of podcasts and photos and videos from the event. It'll be lots of great stuff.
We'll probably talk a little bit about it on next week's episode.
That's right. That's right. So,
heck, we may even do next week's episode on any of the swag we get. So
you never know. So until then, guys, I'm Pixel Dan.
I'm Devall.
We'll see you next week.